Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Wednesday, July the 24th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. If you have not been to the website yet, go check it out. There's a lot of free education information on the site for you. At the same time, if you're interested in taking our active trading course, contact me at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com. A lot of good stuff going on, folks. You want to be a part of what we have going on, check out the website, check out the Facebook page. All the information is there. Aside from that, let's go and take a look at these markets we had today. What a wild day. A couple of things before I go over the markets. So we did have a little change in characteristics. We had the shorts in control for the majority of the day, or pretty much all, for the whole day here. I mean, at the last hour, so they chopped us around, but the shorts were in control for the whole day here, as a lot of the rallies were getting shorted, and we haven't seen that since for a while. Ever since we were selling off back here. I mean, since the lows that we made right here on June 24th, all the dips have been getting bought up, and now we're starting to see a change in that characteristic. So that's where you have to put your your thinking cap on and start looking for some ideas, possibly to the short side. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at these markets here. Starting off with the Dow. The Dow closed down 25.5. The Nasdaq closed up a little over a quarter point. The S&P 500 closed down 6.5. If we take a look at the breadth on the market, we had 4,315 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMX. We had 1,833 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMX. Therefore, breadth was in favor of the bears today. Taking a look at the broad markets, I mean, pretty much every sector got hit today across the board. I mean, there's a couple of standout stocks from earnings, Apple being one of them, EMC, IBM did pretty well today, HPQ. I mean, but overall, the market was bearish across the board. The breadth was bearish. Different sectors were rallying and then getting shorted. So we got to make sure we're on the ball tomorrow to see if this same type of action takes place. Because if it does, then we want to make sure we do the same thing we did today and short the rallies. So, not try to be hard-headed trying to buy the dips when the buy the dip scenario should have been doing that since the rallies that we had, since the bottom that we made down here on June 24th. Now it's probably time to sell the rallies. But again, we'll see tomorrow. We did have a couple companies that reported earnings after the close that did pretty well. Qualcomm's trading up, Facebook's trading up, Baidu's trading up. So we're going to see how that relates into tomorrow's session. So starting off with the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF closed down 62 cents, down 0.37%, closing at 168.52. We were not able to break above yesterday's highs. We attempted to, but we were not able to break. So that's going to be the short-term resistance. So I would say 3-day resistance right here. All right, short-term support we have to watch is going to be down here around 167. And I would say you can also watch that whole number, watch that 168 level. If we break below today's lows and then we take out 168, the next target that we have on the radar will be down here towards 167. We break below 167, the next target we have on the radar is 166.33, which lines up with the 20-day exponential moving average. The 20-day simple moving average is down there around 165.33. So we're going to keep this on the radar going forward now. Taking a look at the triple Qs, the Nasdaq 100. Here again, this index got pushed up. This index gapped up today from the Apple earnings. However, it was not able to hold those gains. 75 is definitely a resistance level on it. You can see for the past 3 days, it has not been able to break past 75. So if it takes out today's lows, then takes out yesterday's lows, we could start feeling this little gap action that we've been telling you guys about in the video that's right on the chart here. All right, and that gap fill comes around 73.54, which also lines up with that 20-day simple moving average down there, which is most likely going to be the target. You can see the short-term moving averages are kind of pointing down a little bit, down the sideways, and the momentum to the top side is dying out ever since we got that gap down in the Nasdaq last week Friday. Okay, taking a look at the IWM, the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000, of course, was also weak today, down 87 cents, down 0.83%. The key level to watch on the Russell 2000, I would say, is going to be down here around 100 from this nice little consolidation break that we had. We broke out right here. We just started grinding higher. All right, we did have a nice little wide range bar to the sell side today, and we closed right on top of the 8-day moving average. If we break below this 103.50 area, look for the 20-day moving average to act as support around 101.81, which is the exponential. The simples down there are 101.19, and then we had this little gap fill area right here from the gap up. That was about let's see, 2 weeks ago, all right, which lines up to be around 101.20. All right, so keep those levels on watch. Short-term resistance on the IWM is right here at 105, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some stocks here. I'm not going to go through the commodities today. Um, I want to focus more on these stocks here. Starting off with Apple. Okay, Apple had a nice day today. Held up pretty well. Held its gains pretty well. You definitely want to see if the stock gets some follow through tomorrow. I think it should, since a lot of these tech stocks reported some good numbers after the close. I mean, you had Baidu, Qualcomm, Facebook. So Apple could chop around a little bit, maybe sometime tomorrow, then try to trade back up towards the top of this candle that it had today, back up towards a 445 area. But as long as it holds above 435 here in the short term, I think Apple will try to build a base around here and possibly try to make a move back up towards this next resistance level around 455. Taking a look at Amazon. Amazon's next up on the docket for earnings. I believe they have earnings coming out tomorrow. Yep, they have earnings coming out tomorrow after the close. Again, this stock may pull back a bit tomorrow and touch this 28 moving average, so we definitely want to watch that 295.35. I do think it will be a buying opportunity if the stock was to sell off tomorrow and touch that level there. Again, this has been a power move. The breakout on Amazon was at 281.85. This was a stock in the Nasdaq that was leading the Nasdaq up. I would say it was the strongest one out there when it was going up, and would make sense for it to pull back a bit since it's extended from the breakout level. At the same time, it would make sense for them to sell it back down and to find at least some buyers that try to get involved in this, at least for a scalp opportunity or something. And then you have to see what happens from there. But keep an eye on Amazon if it pulls back tomorrow towards this level, the 295 level. The basic material stocks were definitely weak today. Some of the energy stocks were down. ExxonMobil, Schlumberger, the precious metal stocks were down today. We had a nice little strength, nice little bid in the dollar. Real quick, let's take a look at the volatility index. I want to see how this closed today. The VIX closed at, let's see here. The VIX closed at 1318. We held that 1223 level. If we get back above 1350, all right, that'll be something to look out for, because we did have that little consolidation range that caused a breakout, which caused this nice little move up in the VIX as we saw when we were pulling back here in the market back here in May. And now we're back at this level, so it held a support back above 1353, then back above 14, then we have 16. Just some levels to watch. Again, I think tomorrow, now that we had some of these companies come out with good earnings and the market's kind of moving on some of these earnings reports here, that we have a chance to make back some of today's losses and possibly try to make a range here on the ES. Short-term resistance on the ES is 1695 half. Decent support on the ES is down here around 1665.80, so we could be starting a range here. All right. And, there's definitely some decent setups today, guys, especially if you were trading the ES or trading the market. The markets did give you some nice setups. The Nasdaq didn't go negative today. That's one thing to keep an eye on. The Nasdaq did not go negative today. It actually held its gains. And if it went negative, it probably went negative for a second. Other than that, the Nasdaq index probably went negative. I don't believe I saw the Nasdaq futures negative the whole day. So that's pretty interesting. What else? Let's see here. Some stocks that did well today from the earnings report. EMC. All right, we're going to be watching EMC. EMC is at a key level. Why is that a key level? Because you take a look back here, that little consolidation, that was a breakdown. That 27 level, that's pretty much, that breakdown pretty much caused all this ugly selling pressure to sideways action that we've been getting here in the stock. And now the stock held at 2675 level. So if we can hold above 2675 on EMC, we're going to be looking to get long this name. If we hold below 2675, we're going to be looking to get short, just because it's a key above and below a level. Above the level bullish, below the level bearish. Pretty easy trade. We'll be watching this one tomorrow now that we see how the investors and traders traded today. Pretty much they faded it on the gap up. Baidu. Let's take a look at some of these earnings play that came out after the close today. All right, let me bring the screen over here real quick. All right, so Baidu closed at 113.38. Traded at currently trading at 128. Hit a high of 133.08, and stock's looking pretty good. Let's go back and take a look at the daily chart. All right, trading at 138. That means this thing is opening up all the way back towards. Well, I gotta actually bring up a weekly chart here. Let's slide this over here real quick for you guys. All right, 1 second. The stock is trading at 128.32. Hit a high of 133. All right, so it's trading right below this little pivot right here. All right, 135 is going to be a level that if it holds up tomorrow and it breaks past the pre-market after hours high today of that 133, then 135 is going to be a target that traders are going to be looking for. Either way, I think Baidu, we'll watch it tomorrow how it trades, but I think Baidu will be a good stock to wait for it to pull back and then try to buy the dips on that one tomorrow. Again, we'll see how it trades pre-market once more investors and traders start positioning themselves in the name. And if Baidu is trading to the top side, you definitely want to make sure you keep an eye on Sina and SOHU, some of these other Chinese stocks. Sina showed some nice relative strength today. Stock has a breakout over 65.75 or so. Let me take a look to see if it's doing anything here after hours. And Sina as well is gapping up. Closed at 64.29 and it traded a high of 66.60. In other words, it's above, actually traded above this little resistance right here that we had on the daily chart. So keep an eye on Cena tomorrow as well. They don't have earnings coming out until August the 15th, but you know, they could be people could start positioning themselves off of Baidu's earnings in the expectation that Cena is going to report pretty good as well. So keep an eye on Cena. You want to keep an eye on SOHU and just keep an eye on some of these Chinese tech stocks that could feed off some of that Baidu excitement there. So let's take a look at SOHU, see if SOHU's doing anything after hours. And yeah, SOHU's trading 69, but it doesn't look like people are really. Maybe it looks like one person in their basement was trading the stock or something. But either way, those stocks are going to be in play tomorrow. Keep an eye on those names. Some of the basic material stocks that bounced yesterday looked pretty good, but they didn't really hold up today. For example, U.S. Steel had a nice day yesterday, got smacked right back down. CLF had a nice little day yesterday with a kind of a small range, and this one didn't really get any good follow through. Got smacked right back down, and they have earnings coming out tomorrow. So this stock's definitely going to be a name that we're going to be trading. They have earnings after the bell tomorrow, and I believe so did X. Let me take a look here real quick. No, U.S. Steel, they have earnings next week Tuesday. All right, how about these banks? The banks were weak today. Starting off, let's take a look at some of them here. J.P. Morgan. See how these banks closed the session. J.P. Morgan pulled back a little bit, pretty much flat day. I mean, nothing going on there. It's still, this one is still holding above its moving averages right here. The 8 and the 5s. That's pretty decent. Let's see, Goldman Sachs. Again, some of these banks are kind of just floating higher, grinding higher. They look a little bit tired. You want to be careful you get in these names. Goldman Sachs could be at a potential double top area. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a double top yet, of course, because it can just consolidate and trade sideways and try to break out. I would say it is a double top. I mean, if it was to trade back all the way down to 158, then obviously I'll be like, all right, yeah, that was a double top up there. But you can't get biased saying it's double top right now and trying to short it. You want to wait for it to really give you some really good signals, whether it be on an intraday basis, like you're watching it intraday and you start to see that it's acting weak compared to the market, showing relative weakness, or whether it be that we get a nice little bearish candle, that we get a break and close below these short-term moving averages, which have been holding the price up for the past 2 weeks. You get what I'm saying? Bank of America, BAC. Let's take a look at some of these banks, see what BAC is doing here. All right, BAC, same thing. Trend still pretty much intact. All right, use these key moving averages to gauge. If we were to pull back in Bank of America, I think a good area to try to position yourself in the name would be back down here towards this, let's see, at this, back on the back test of this $14 level here. All right, which was a prior resistance. So now it should act as support, which would be pretty good. Have a nice little move up, little pullback, then another move up. That would not be bad at all. All right. What else we had here? Watch. Broadcom, BRCM. That stock got some more selling pressure. All right. Hewlett Packard looks pretty good. All right, canceling out the sell bar that I had on Friday. Let's take a look at Qualcomm real quick. Remember, they had earnings after the bell. Let's see what it's trading at right now. Let's see. Qualcomm's trading at $64. It closed at $61.36. A lot of big price movements in earnings this season, guys. I'm wondering if it's because maybe a lot of analysts got got their projections way off target from the estimate or what, I don't know. But Qualcomm is trading 64. It's breaking above the 200-day moving average. It's breaking above this key level at 63. I would say tomorrow, if it's holding up pre-market, holding the gains that it had today from after hours pre-market, this stock could possibly be at 64.75, maybe even 65 tomorrow. All right, as this stock has been kind of trying to get a grip of itself, and now that the earnings came out, we could position ourselves. Investors can position themselves. Traders could kind of feed off that new sentiment that's going to be coming in the stock once people go to the earnings report, and we'll see how this trades. But holding above 64 could take it up to 65 in that gap fill up there, which is around 65.20 or so. Aside from that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video short here. We have a lot of stuff to look at tomorrow morning, so I'll make sure I get to the chat room early tomorrow morning. If you have not been to the room yet, it is mywallstreettv.com. All right, to get the password to log in, you can contact me via email at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com, or you can go to our home page, go to our website wallstreettrading.com. On the right-hand side of the home page, there's a form. Fill that form out. It takes you about 2 minutes, and you'll get the credentials to the chat room emailed to you within a matter of a minute. Have a great day, folks. Cheers.